They planned your downfall, not quietly, not accidentally, not as a possibility. No, they planned it. They whispered in rooms you were never invited into. They exchanged knowing looks when your name was mentioned. They watched you from a distance, the way hunters watch prey that hasn't yet realized it's surrounded. And when the moment came, they pushed. They thought the fall would break you. They thought the silence afterward would bury you. They thought the world would forget you. But here's the part they never understood. They didn't push you off a cliff. They pushed you into a storm. And storms don't destroy warriors. Storms create them. They expected something very simple. They expected you to crumble. They expected you to collapse under the weight of betrayal, doubt, and loneliness. They thought you would beg for understanding. They thought you would chase their approval. They thought you would spend sleepless nights asking yourself the question. They secretly wanted you to ask, what did I do wrong? That was their expectation. They thought pain would turn you into a shadow. They thought isolation would silence you. They thought losing their support would make you weak. But reality had other plans. Because while they were celebrating your fall, something unexpected was happening in the darkness. Something they never predicted. You weren't breaking, you were observing. You were learning, you were evolving. The silence they thought would suffocate you, it became your training ground. The loneliness they thought would destroy you, it became your forge. And every night they believed you were crying yourself to sleep. You were sharpening something far more dangerous than anger. You were sharpening clarity. Because pain has a strange way of revealing the truth. When the noise disappears, you finally see clearly. You begin to notice things you ignored before. The fake smiles, the hidden jealousy, the quiet resentment that hid behind polite conversations. You begin to realize something terrifying and freeing at the same time. They were never really with you. They were simply waiting. Waiting for the moment when your light became too bright. Waiting for the moment when your potential made them uncomfortable. Waiting for the moment when tearing you down felt easier than building themselves up. And when that moment came, they struck. But here's what they didn't realize. When you lose illusions, you gain vision. And vision changes everything. The nights were long at first. There were moments when doubt crept in like cold fog. Moments when your mind whispered dangerous questions. Maybe they were right. Maybe you're not strong enough. Maybe you should just give up. Those whispers were real. But so was something else. Something deeper. Something ancient. Something that refused to die inside you. A quiet voice that said, stand up. Not loudly, not dramatically, just calmly, relentlessly stand up. You did it first slowly, then stronger, then unstoppable. You started rebuilding yourself piece by piece. Not for revenge, not for applause, but for truth. You trained your mind when no one was watching. You faced your fears when no one believed you could. You turned pain into discipline. You turned silence into focus. You turned betrayal into fuel. While they were gossiping, you were growing. While they were mocking, you were mastering yourself. While they were comfortable in their small circles of judgment, you were stepping into something much larger, your purpose. And slowly, something began to change. Not around you, but within you. The person who once sought validation started disappearing. The person who once needed approval started fading away. In their place emerged someone else. Someone calmer, someone sharper. Someone who understood a powerful truth. Your worth was never decided by the people who tried to destroy you. Your worth was decided by the way you rose after the fall. And you rose differently, not loudly, not arrogantly, but undeniably, like the sunrise. Quiet, inevitable, unstoppable. That's when they began to notice. At first it was subtle, a glance, a confused expression, a whisper behind your back. Because something wasn't going according to their plan. You were supposed to be broken. You were supposed to be bitter. You were supposed to disappear. But instead, you were thriving. And nothing confuses your enemies more than the sight of someone they tried to destroy becoming stronger than ever. They started asking questions. How are they doing this? Why aren't they angry? Why aren't they begging for acceptance? Because they expected rage, they expected drama, they expected revenge. But what they got instead was something far more terrifying: your peace. Peace is dangerous to people who thrive on chaos. Your calm became their discomfort. Your focus became their insecurity. Your growth became their mirror. And mirrors are terrifying to people who refuse to face themselves. So they've tried something new. They've tried to provoke you. They've tried to drag you back into the old drama. They've tried to remind you of the past. But you had already crossed a line they could no longer see. You had moved beyond the battlefield. You had moved beyond the need to prove anything, because the strongest power you discovered was indifference, not hatred, not revenge. Indifference, the quiet understanding that some people were never meant to walk beside you, the calm acceptance that their betrayal was simply part of your transformation. You no longer wasted energy asking why they did it. You no longer carried the weight of their opinions. You simply kept moving forward, upward, beyond. And that was the moment their fear truly began. Because the person who seeks revenge can still be controlled. But the person who has found inner mastery, it's impossible to manipulate. They watched you from a distance now, the same way they once did, but the energy had changed. The confidence you carried now was different. It wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. It moved like gravity, unavoidable. You walked into rooms differently. You spoke with clarity. You moved with purpose. And people began to notice, not the version of you they once tried to destroy, but the version of you that had been forged in fire. Because fire does something extraordinary. It destroys what is weak, but it refines what is strong. And you had been through the flames. Every betrayal, every sleepless night, every moment when you felt completely alone. Those moments didn't end you. They transformed you. You became sharper, stronger, wiser, more aware of the games people play, more protective of your energy, more committed to your path, and suddenly, the very thing they planned as your downfall became your greatest advantage. Think about that. They planned your downfall, but they accidentally created your awakening. They tried to bury you, but they planted a seed. And seeds grow, slowly, silently, until one day they break through the surface and reach toward the sun. You became that seed. You grew through pressure. You grew through darkness. You grew through doubt, and now you stand taller than they ever expected. But here's the most powerful part of your transformation. You didn't just grow stronger, you grew free. Free from their opinions. Free from their expectations. Free from the need to prove your worth to people who never intended to see it. That freedom is something they will never fully understand, because many people spend their entire lives trapped in invisible cages built by other people's judgments. But you broke the cage. And once someone breaks the cage, they never go back. Now when you look back at the moment they pushed you, you see it differently. What once felt like betrayal now looks like redirection. What once felt like cruelty now feels like clarity. They removed themselves from your life. And in doing so, they removed the limits that were holding you back. They showed you who they truly were. And that knowledge, that painful, brutal honesty, was the greatest gift hidden inside the darkest moment. Because now you move through life with sharper awareness. You recognize genuine people. You protect your time. You invest your energy wisely. You walk away from negativity without hesitation. And perhaps the most beautiful change of all, you no longer fear being alone. Because you discovered something extraordinary in the silence. You discovered yourself. And the person you discovered is powerful. Not because they've never suffered, but because they've rose through suffering. Not because they never fell, but because they learned how to rise. You are no longer the person they once tried to destroy. You are the person that struggled, revealed, a warrior of patience, a master of self-control, a creator of your own path. So if they ever wonder again,